We will get the meeting started momentarily. All right, then, if it would please the group, we will go ahead and call to order the meeting for the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District on April 25th. Our first order of business will be to stand and salute the flag. And repeat after Supervisor McGlashan, please.
Please join me in saluting our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the Metro Cable announcement is as follows. The open session meeting is videotaped for Cablecast on Metro Cable 14, replay on Saturday, April 27th, 2013 at 1 p.m. and Monday, April 29, 2013 at 6 p.m. on Channel 14, webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. The open session meetings are also available for viewing on the district website at www.metrofire.ca.gov. First item of business, do we have any public speaker cards?
We haven't received any. Thank you.
All right. Quickly, we will take care of our consent agenda.
Move the agenda, Mr. Chair.
Second.
We have a motion by Director Scheidegger and a second by Director Jones. Board Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Directors Monk.
Aye.
Wood.
Aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Barzali.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Directors Gould and Clark absent. Motion passes.
Thank you. And at this time, we will push the presentation agenda to the front of our agenda. And we have a presentation for photographs of the new fire station 111 and the Rio Linda, Alberta community. Mr. Roger Mitchell is going to lead this.
Chairman, Board of Directors, the community of Rio Linda, Alberta is here tonight to donate a couple of photographs for the new station 111, but I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our group in the audience before we start with the presentation. But first and foremost, the First Lady I'd like to introduce to you, I would like to tell you a short story about her. I think that's very important. I first met this lady and have had the opportunity to introduce her many times. She was our supervisor, our third supervisor in 1 year. And she came to a chamber meeting. And she was sitting next to, just to his right, Congressman Doug Ose. I was sitting to his left. And she says, Doug, she says, please tell me what I've heard about this fire truck, firehouse thing going on out here. And Doug turned to me and he says, Roger, would you escort the supervisor and myself over just across the street to the old fire? Now it's January, it's raining, and it's 9 o'clock at night. She took her time to come over, look, ask for us to tell her a little more about it. Subsequent to that, we had a nice reception for her. The chief attended. But this lady and her support for this has taken her time to make sure. It wasn't a political thing with her. It was, I'm going to make sure that what's going on here is appropriate. And I, to be quite honest with you, as a taxpayer, I appreciate that. I really do. So with that little story, it's my extreme pleasure and high honor to introduce to you tonight Supervisor Roberta McGlashan.
Well, pleasure to be here tonight, and thank you to Roger for the gracious introduction. I just very briefly just want to say that it's been my privilege for the last year and a half to represent the Rio Linda, Alberta communities, and it was a very special time because last year was this Rio Linda's centennial, and the history is very important in Rio Linda, and this fire station, old fire station 111, and the fire trucks are very much a part of that. And so I was just very pleased to be invited to be here tonight to be part of this presentation, and nice to see all of you.
Welcome and thank you.
Continuing our introduction tonight, to my left, Mr. Mel Griffin. He's one of our crew members that works diligently on the truck as well as the firehouse. Mr. Bill Fancher next to him, he's a master mechanic, machinist. Without him, I think we would all fail. Next to him, a very fine and elegant lady. She is the Chamber of Commerce president, Miss Lisa Morris, and she is also a board person for the Rio Linda Alberta Recreation and Park District. And I think the one that she's probably the proudest of, and we are too, is she is also the committee chair at the Rio Linda Park District level for the restoration of Old Fire Station 111 and our second fire truck. So Lisa's here this evening. Next, starting here, Shauna. She is the, shall we say, the better half of one of our other hard workers, Cecil McCracken. He's one of our hard workers restoring the truck in the station. Next to him is Hal Morris. That's Lisa's other half. So he follows her wherever she goes. I'm not sure what that means, but is very. So we're here tonight to present to you, to hang in New Station 111, 2 photographs that we think are significant. One of our stated goals from the Chamber of Commerce, from the Chamber, also the Grange, the restoration crew, and the Park District, is to turn New Station 111, Old Station 111, and then our old train station that's been rebuilt, literally into an art gallery. So at that being said, we have already donated 3 photos to New 111, and they hang there. Now we have 2 examples this evening. I don't have the third, I apologize, but if you could bring up the first picture. The picture on the screen is one of the first ones we donated. That picture is of Rio Linda's first fire truck on the right, which is Old Betsy, as we call her affectionately. The one on the left is Rio Linda number 2. That's the one that's under restoration as we speak. Next photo, please. That's simply a photo in front of the station with 1, 2, 3, and 4 in a row, and that hangs in Station 111. The third, which we did not have for you this evening, was Rio Linda's first modern-day pumper, a 1951 LaFrance, that took the place of number 2 that we are restoring. So tonight we have 2 more pictures to donate. We have contacted one of the captains at Station 111, Mr. Barry Taylor, have shown him the pictures, certainly told him that we understand that's their house. Please hang them where you please. But we did ask that they be hanged together, and I think that'll become apparent as we show you the pictures. So if I can get some help to unveil these, and we can go to the third picture, young men. This picture is of Old Betsy next to which was the fire station before the one that was there. It was built in 1923. The next picture, these 2 will tell a story, but I would like to give you just some information. The picture was donated by the restoration crew, myself and my wife. The frame was donated by one of the Park District directors. He is also a cabinet maker by trade. So, and then the framing process, one of the framing processes was donated by the Rio Linda Chamber. The other one was by the Rio Linda Grange. So I think you can see it's a community effort for what we're doing here. But notwithstanding, if it wasn't for this fire district choosing to save that old station, we wouldn't be in business. So this community is working with this fire district, and without your help, this project wouldn't work. Also, you need to know that your grant writer, Mr. Larry Davis, is very much involved with us. The chief has kind of let him help, and we're sitting on a grant right now that we've got our fingers crossed, but they wrote a very nice grant with the Taggart Foundation. We don't know where that's going to go, but we thank you, Larry, very much. So the photograph is of Rio Linda's first fire truck again. We think it was taken somewhere around 1926-27. We don't know who the photographer was. We believe the driver there is Bill Gross, which was a local businessman and longtime volunteer fireman. We'll unveil a second photograph, if you'll bring that up, young man, and they're going to look a lot the same to you. And we'll show you explain the differences, and then they'll tell a story. In looking at both of these, if you'll look at the one we just unveiled, there's a dog under the tailboard that isn't under the tailboard in the first one. Secondly, the driver, arms position and head position is different. Now you say, gee, why? Just for that little difference, why? Tells us a story. Somebody set a camera up, and whether they took the one and they got the dog in it first, and then the dog wandered out, and they took the second one, we're not sure. But we know they were taken close together, and we thought that told a story, and they should be displayed together. So that's why those two come to you tonight, and we appreciate the option of having those hang in New Station 111. So,
Thank you.
what we'd like to do now is, with our display here on the table, you can see there's some flowers. Now, when we set a display up, there's flowers there for a reason that we will tell you maybe 2 or 3 years from now. But they're also there tonight for a special purpose. So, with your permission, I would like to escort Roberta McGlashan, our supervisor, up. And with the chief's permission, I would like either you or allow me to escort the secretary of the board up, please. Thank you. First of all, this lady to my left, I've told you a little about her, but she's been so helpful to us. She really has. I could tell you stories and it would take all night, and you have business to attend to. But so, on behalf of Sac Metro Fire, Rio Linda Alberta Recreation Park District, the Rio Linda Alberta Grange, Rio Linda Alberta Chamber of Commerce, and last but certainly not least, the restoration crew, we'd like you to accept these on our behalf, Supervisor. You're welcome, very much. Now, this lady on my right, every time we call to come before this board, for whatever the reason, she finds time for us, works in your schedule, calls us back, says, well, it won't work now, but I can work you in over here. She's just helpful. And to be honest with you, she's part of the team. Part of your team, part of our team, part of the overall team. So, on behalf of Sac Metro Fire, Rio Linda Alberta Recreation Park District, Rio Linda Alberta Grange, the Chamber, and last again but not least, the restoration crews. Charlotte, please accept these from us this evening. Thank you. Now, if I can get these two ladies to stay here with me, I would like to ask the chief and our director, Director Gary Monk, to come down. And I would ask the people that are here from Rio Linda, that are part of our crew, to come up. And I would ask the chief and our director to kind of officially accept on our behalf these two photos for the district. And maybe the chief and our director might like to say a couple of words.
Well, I would just say on behalf of the district, and the board can weigh in too, thank you very much. We always appreciate working very, very close with you guys. Supervisor McGlashan has been a big boost in regards to getting this project off the ground and been one of the biggest supporters out there. And each and every one of you have just done an incredible job out there in restoring the station, and even after you got caught with the electrical stuff. But restoring the station, I always got to bring that up. That was a funny story. But at the end of the day, you guys are doing a great job, and it's really an honor for us to have Larry try to work with you guys to get constant funding and grant funding and so on and so forth that we can do to help support the environment out there. The community out in Rio Linda is just, in Alberta, is unmatched, I think, really in our district about the family spirit and the traditions that are out there and how much they care about the community. So on behalf of my staff, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Director Monk.
Well, One comment I wanted to make is I really appreciate Roberta's participation with us and our interest in the community projects that we do. And everything that we're doing out there is trying to bring the fire district, the park district, and all of the other organizations together to work on community projects. That's important to me, and I know it's important to the supervisors as well. And if we can use this as a model throughout the rest of her district and our district, she's got such a large area that, you know what, we would all be better off working together doing that. So we really appreciate, and want to mention the Park District too, because they're a big part of what we do, the Foundation to the Future. We really appreciate the ongoing support and communications that we've got, because we couldn't do it alone. That's a fact. So again, thank you for everybody's help and participation in our program.
Thank you, Director. I would be very remiss. Congressman Doug Ossie would have been here tonight. Our supervisor has him at another meeting, or he would have been here. But what I would like to tell the chief, of course, Roberta was very instrumental. She called me one day and she says, I need you to come to a meeting with me with Brian Rice, the president of 522. And we walked in and sat down, and I think this was funny, but Roberta looked at Brian and she says, Brian, now we're not here to ask for anything. We're here to update you on the project. And Brian interrupted her, very pleasantly. He said, Roberta, I'm here to tell you tonight I'm going before my board and I'm going to ask for a $2,000 donation to this project. He's followed through with that. That is now in the hands of the Fire Districts Foundation. Little did I know that Congressman Ossie is a good friend of Brian Rice's. And so they got together on the phone, and how should I say this? I think Brian told him, now I've put some money up, Congressman, what are you going to do? And Doug looked, I say look because I was standing next to him, he says, Brian, for every dollar you put up, I'll match. So that's coming shortly, and but all of that was through the help of our supervisor, Roberta McGlashan. So with that, I would certainly entertain any questions that the staff or the directors might have of us before we let you get on with your meeting.
Do any directors have any questions of the supervisor or Mr. Mitchell?
Mr. President, on behalf of the Board of Directors, I'd like to say thank you very, very much for the continued strong efforts from our Rio Linda community. Thank you all.
Thank you, Director.
Mr. Monk, did you have some comments?
Roger, these are very nice photographs. They're nice photographs. They're done very well. Now, these are going in new 111?
Yes, sir.
Is there a chance we can get it for old 111 too when we do the museum?
I'm glad you asked, because as we speak, we will, as you just requested, we'll make sure that these two hang in the old station, as well as we'll have 3 or 4 more that we're working on, so we'll see that those are hung in the old station probably within the next 30 to 60 days. But thank you for recognizing those, and we'll make sure your request is honored by having those. So thank you. I would also tell you that on May 25th, that we're having a pancake breakfast. You're all invited, and we would certainly accept a $5 donation for all the pancakes you'd like to eat. So last year, Director Azali came, took a look around. We appreciate that. And I was a little remiss, Director Azali, that the flowers that we gave out this evening, especially the one to Charlotte, I remembered the one evening that you were a new director. And you brought a...
You mean me?
Yes, sir. Schoniger. I beg your pardon, please.
Still waiting on your $5.
Yeah.
One of us has just been badly insulted.
Randy
would have wiped out the pancakes.
We can fix that for $5.
Yeah, I apologize.
Go ahead.
But anyway, you brought a beautiful, I think it was a yellow mum, to Charlotte. And as thank you for her help when you were a new director and getting you on board. And I remembered that, and that's one of the reasons these flowers were presented tonight. So anyway, we thank you for listening to us, and thank you very much.
Mr. Mitchell, Your undying support for the Rio Linda community cannot go unnoticed this evening. It is something that has been clearly evident since I began on this board back in 2004, I believe it was. So I've nearly been on this board for some 10 years, and you have appeared before us many times, and you've always had the community of Rio Linda in your heart and Sac Metro Fire, and we appreciate that very much, Roger. And the community knows that they have a great supporter in yourself, a leader, and Sac Metro is pleased to be in partnership with you.
Thank you, Director. I would be remiss in speaking of the chief, our supervisor, Roberta McGlashan, as well as Congressman Doug Ossie. I'll give you a parting story. One of the receptions that we held for Supervisor McGlashan in the old station, Chief Hinkie, Roberta McGlashan, as well as Doug Ossie were standing talking, and it was the chief, I think, that waved me over, and he says, "Now listen." He says, "Don't screw this project up." He says, "The project is starting to get legs of its own." And he says, pretty soon that project is going to start speaking for itself and it will accelerate. And he says, and again, he looked at me, he says, "Don't screw this up." So we'll try not to, Chief. We'll work hard. That doesn't mean we won't make mistakes on the way. But we'd like your $5 at the pancake breakfast also.
Well, you will get $5 from me and more. And I really do not remember the story that way, Roger, but it was entertaining.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Board of Directors, very much.
Thank you.
We're going to take a couple-minute recess while they take their items down.
A couple-minute recess.
Yeah.
At your request.
Sorry, is it charitable judgment? Doesn't deny him anything. Let him keep saying that. Say that we didn't do something. Okay, whatever. So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, it's not on our agenda to talk in closed session. Yeah. I want to do away with York anyways, like we were talking about in D.C.
Okay, I thought we did this. This is what we were doing. This is what we are at.
Yeah, I don't know where he's getting his legal findings from. Yep. How they got conclusion about it, you know? Even if you've been like some firefighter,
There's a lever on this side. Yes, right there. There are two levers there.
yeah, I don't get it either. Because, you know, the chief would have fought against this if it was any other employee. So why would he do it now? Makes sense.
I think so.
Grant's been quiet tonight.
Right.
Good plan.
Yep.
Next time we
Right. That thing is just not right.
You got to come up with that. You got to come up with that on your own. Are we live?
We're live.
All right then. Is everybody ready? We'll go ahead and reconvene at this time.
Go to closed session.
And let the record reflect that it was a pleasure to host Mr. Mitchell and the leaders of the Rio Linda community. All right. We will move on to our action items. And first action item this evening, Chief Cockrum. Bid award for tenant improvements at 2101 Hurley Way.
That just sounds familiar.
President Kelly, directors, Scott Cockrum, Deputy Chief Support Services, and today we're pleased to be able to provide a bid award for a new security fence to our tenant, the Sacramento Sheriff's Department at 2101 Hurley. Now, this security fence, that facility over there is basically for their parking enforcement and red light violators, and come to find out they're not very liked, so apparently they needed a big fence, so that's what we're going to provide them today. So the Sacramento Fire District, we've been working with our architect, Lionakis, who's done a great job for us on a construction for multi-use space owned by the district. The Sheriff's Department at 2101 Hurley, the first phase of the tenant improvement, which they have a lease agreement to do a tenant improvement on, the first phase is to provide a security fence around the perimeter of the property. The fence is being built at the request and design of the Sheriff's Department. The costs are part of a reimbursement agreement in place with the County of Sacramento as part of our terms of the lease agreement that we have with them. The Metro Fire has placed this on our website on March 26th, and it continued on our website till April 12th. We advertised it in the Bee March 28th and the 2nd of April, and we emailed it to the Valley Contractors Exchange on March 26th. We actually had a pretty good turnout on this one. We ended up with 4 contractors. I'll start from the bottom, which was Crusader Fence came in at $94,131, Roblin $92,971, Land Graphics Fencing at $86,028, and Fence Corp, who won the proposal at $84,321. Staff is recommending that we award the bid to Fence Corp for the amount of $84,321.
All right, then, are there any questions of Chief Cockrum? I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve staff recommendation for the Low Bid Fence Corp. Inc. for the amount of $84,321.
Second.
We've got a motion by Director Jones and a second by Director Orzali. Board Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Directors Monk,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Barzali,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Directors Gould and Clark absent. Motion passes.
All right. Thank you, Chief Cockrum. And then we have a cost savings summary of the negotiated employee agreements. Chief Wells.
Actually, President Kelly, Board of Directors, I'll start this presentation off. At the microphone, you're going to have Deputy Chief Mark Wells of Administration, King Campo, our financial consultant, and tonight we've asked Vice President of the Local 522, the International Association of Firefighters, Ty Bailey, to come up, because truly what we're about ready to endeavor in no short amount of credit, but a great amount of credit goes to the firefighters union here, and the amount of work that they did in sitting down with the district, not for the first time, not for the second time, but multiple times during their existing contract that a lot of entities would have said, listen, we have a contract, we're not interested in talking. But out of recognition of the tough circumstances that the district faced, the amount of cuts that the citizens would receive in service cuts if they hadn't stepped up to the plate, they sat there and did their community part and sacrificed economically in large ways so that we could keep fire stations open, engine companies going, and the service delivered to the public. And tonight is truly, I think, one of those milestones that we talk about in our industry or as an elected body even, because tonight I think what we have been able to accomplish with the great amount of work from 522, the tremendous amount of work of the staff, the management team that worked, human resources, Mark Wells, finance, Rhonda McFarland, Ken Campbell, all of them. We've got a product here that I think is, there is no comparison in the rest of the state of California. If there is, I haven't seen it yet, and would look for it in regards to healthcare reform. So with that, I'll go ahead and ask for the first slide to go up, and I'll briefly take you through what we did. Is somebody working the slides for me?
Okay.
So then you got a clean copy?
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, I'll go ahead and go off my notes and wing it because that's what we do. Oh, there it is.
Overhead projector. Most effective teaching tool.
Perfect.
There we go. First off, it's really, this is the objectives of the negotiators on both sides was continuing collaborative labor management efforts to reduce the district's expenditures, which we've been facing a loss of property tax of around $24 million a year annually. And we wanted to build on the previous mid-contract wage and benefit concessions, which were huge. Our members pay 12% of the employer's cost of PERS, so the public out there watching needs to know that. And they made a whole wide variety of other concessions. But they also created a 20-year vesting plan. It used to be that you could work here for a few years and retire and actually get full medical retirement. And so in that first round, on top of all those other things of negotiations, we created the 5% a year vesting period for retiree health care. And it should be noted that that passed. However, on PERS law, it says that in order to be vested to even qualify, you'd have to have 10 years in. And so we currently, I should let you know that yesterday out of the PERS committee in the Assembly, our cleanup language to change that to 5 passed. It's moving on to the next committee. We expect no problems with that. And that will enable us to enact this 20-year vesting. So for every year you work after 5 years minimum, you're eligible for 5% of your health care costs when you retire. So if you work for 5 years, you get 25% covered. If you work for 20, you get to 100%. So that was a huge, huge give because in the old language, they could work here just a short time, retire, and be eligible for 100% health coverage. But we knew we had to do more and address the rapid growth in health care costs affecting active employees and retirees. On average, healthcare costs have increased 9% per year since 05-06, all the way through 2012 and 13. So for the public out there, healthcare costs have increased much more than retirement costs or any of the stuff that you read about on a regular basis. It's really the healthcare issues. And we wanted to ensure that retiree health benefits are sustainable and not a burden on district operations. And how did we want to come to that? We wanted to be able to fully fund the ARC. People hear about the ARC out there all the time, the annual required contribution, and you hear about people not pre-funding and not addressing that for putting the money away so that the future is covered. We knew we had to do that, and we had to address the OPEB unfunded liability, which the public hears a lot of big numbers about unfunded liability, and you'll see what we've done to that through this negotiation. Now, one of the important things is this. The California Public Employment Benefits Commission made one big recommendation when they talked about retiree medical. They said public agencies offering OPEB, which is retiree medical, should adopt pre-funding as their policy. As a policy, pre-funding OPEB benefits is just as important as pre-funding pensions. So with that in mind, that's what this board of directors, the labor union, and the management staff that was directed to work with them came up with. So it should be noted that in regards to pre-funding, though it's the number one most important thing to do with healthcare as it is with retirement, only 22% of local agencies pre-fund their retiree medical today. 22%. And that doesn't mean that they fully pre-fund them to the ARC. A lot of them are well short of that, but that means they're starting to put some money away. And the district established Retiree Health Trust with CalPERS in 2012 exactly for this purpose of pre-funding, and I believe we started it with about $1.7 million. And the CalPERS program includes 355 agencies that participate in this healthcare trust. And for the districts, contributions currently come from senior management staff. If you remember, senior management staff led the district, established the OPEB trust, and then we started contributing $100 a month towards pre-funding about a year ago or a year and a half ago. Next slide. Framework for pre-funding retiree health care benefits, really 4 steps. Number 1, reduce the health costs for the district for actives and retirees. How do we do that? Well, we had to drop the amount of money that was available, the cap that was available for health plans, and drop that down, and you'll see that we did that. And then what we did is with those savings, we directed those savings to pre-funding retiree health care trust. So when the members, both retired and active, said, listen, instead of $2,000 and something dollars, which you'll see later, we now are eligible for only $1,743. That amount of savings to the district that we were already paying every year out, we took that savings and directed it straight into the OPEB trust. And then by putting that money in there, it would grow the trust over time and eventually will fully fund our health care payments of 100% funded. But it would allow us also to fully fund our ARC. And last but not least, and probably the most important, is that both active and retirees now contribute 8% of their annual health care premium into that trust as well. So that allowed us to take those 4 methods of reducing cost, creating savings, and then the contributions from the retirees, both active and working, and that's how we come up with the funding of the ARC in the trust.
Chief Hickey, can I make a quick comment on that?
You bet.
Part of that, you talked about the reduction to the $1,743 a month. During this course of the year, we're going to have open enrollment, and we're going to set up, have our PERS plan members come in and get educated, because although we are reducing this amount, it is a concession. There are still very favorable plans under that amount, and we're using the Bay Area rates, and so people are going to be able to get excellent family coverage still, with a huge cost savings to the district. So.
And we'll talk about that. That comes up later in, but they're working with a PORAC plan to create even additional savings. So actives and retirees will contribute 8% of the cost of their health coverage, which will go into pre-funding. And they will stop contributing that when they and their spouses or dependents are all enrolled in Medicare. If they are eligible for Medicare but they have a spouse, then they'll pay 8% of the combination rate, which is a lesser rate. And eventually when they all are in Medicare, they don't pay anymore. And people would say, why would you stop then? Well, under Medicare Part A and Part B, there's a substantial savings to the district on that. So at that point, they'll have paid. The goal is they'll pay classic employees for 30 years, and under the new retirement plan, new employees will be working somewhere up to potentially 37 years. They would be paying in this 8% that full time. So when they reach that Medicare age, at 65, they could have been paying in for 40 years or so, thereabouts. The top dollar amount, we cap. The district will pay monthly premiums. What we pay now is going to be reduced by 15%. So the current cap is $2,040. It'll drop to $1,742. And again, the savings in that will be put into the OPEB trust. And the cap will be indexed to Blue Shield net value, which I believe is the 3rd highest Bay Area plan. Savings will be placed in the OPEB trust, and district funds will continue to fund the annual required contribution. So what will end up happening is our overall ARC, we will end up the first year the district will be on the hook for about $3.7 million up front. You'll see a slide about that, covering that, but it'll diminish over time. And in exchange for all of this, retiree health benefits are guaranteed as a vested right, which the board is aware of, the district's aware of. The bottom line is that in order to get these types of concessions, in order to get employees to pay their money into a fund to guarantee their medical coverage, we are giving them the right that this is a vested right in confirmation with legal cases that have come out. Because it's not right to tell somebody to put money into something and then turn around and do something else with it. Next slide. Reduction in district costs from premium caps and cost sharing. $26.6 million in savings over 10 years. You can see that had we done nothing and continued to pay as we go and not have concessions in place, that's the red lines. You can see that that's the amount of money we would pay with the projected savings from the concessions. We're anticipating $26.6 million in savings over 10 years. Next slide. Combined district costs for premiums and pre-funding of retiree health care. When you look down at the left part of the screen, we have short-term added cost. In year one, it'll be about $3.7 million that we'll put in there. But what you'll see is that by year 5, if we had done nothing, the red line is if we do nothing, current pay as we go. The employees will kick in, and you can see that at year 5, basically what happens is that the district's contribution diminishes, and the employee's contribution continues to go in and pre-fund that. And as that fund grows, then you have the added-on compounding of the rate of return on your investment in that portfolio. So you can see the glaring difference. You pay a little bit of money up front, but you address the issue, and in the long term, you can see your savings grow and grow and grow. Next slide. Now, the growth in the Retiree Health Trust Fund that's at PERS, the estimates are that by year 10, 28 cents of every dollar made on the investment portfolio will be paid for out of that portfolio for retiree health care. And eventually what you're trying to do is get to a point where you're 100% funded, and clearly you can't do that overnight. Now, I think what's important is that when we did our rate of return, when you hear about the pension funds and PERS adjusting and the different retirement funds adjusting their rate of return, at some points they were at 7.75, many years ago higher than that. Now PERS is at 7.5. We actually went with a 7.25 return on our money. We went with a very conservative investment on what that portfolio growth will be. And that's because we wanted to err on the side of being conservative and not overestimating what the dollar value is that's going to be earned on that portfolio. So you can see that if you look at the blue line, that's the carryover from year to year. So that's your compounding. Your annual district and employee contribution, district share net after 92% of retirement premiums is your red, and your annual investment earnings are in your yellow. Now here's the one that I think is the big number that people need to look at, which is the impact on our OPEB unfunded liability. If we would have continued down the road that we were going, where we just simply paid out as we went, would have been the red line. By doing what we have done tonight, if you vote for this package, we'll have reduced our unfunded liability for health care by $93 million. That's a huge, huge amount of savings to the district on a go-forward basis. Now, future savings. Vice President Bailey talked about other health care plans. Currently, we have a variety of our safety members that are represented. They have health care through PORAC, which is the police officer's plan. That plan, the cap is $13.82. That's, you can save about $360 more by our members going into that plan. And we had a bunch of them that we urged people in the open enrollment prior to this being negotiated to do that. We saved several $100,000 by people doing that a year, but we still have a significant amount out there that didn't get the message. It was a real compressed message. It was late. We're going to be starting early this year, several months before open enrollment, and encouraging them, those people that can go in and do that. And the advantage to them is the plan for us today that isn't PORAC is 80-20. So for $360 less, they can get a 90-10 plan. So, I mean, that gives you the variety that's out there. And we're working very, very hard with PORAC to take our civilian employees in. We're looking at how can we do that, and Local 522 is working and negotiating with PORAC to see if they can make that happen for them as well, and that would offer more significant savings for us on a go-forward basis. And then last but not least, employees opting out. When your health care premium is $1,740 a month, if we can get somebody to go on their spouse's insurance from a different area, we're willing to pay them $300 a month because we're saving an astronomical amount of money that we don't have to pay on their health care. So we'll pay them that opt-out fee, which is common in the industry. That is non-PERSable, so it doesn't move our PERSable rate up as far as the count as retirement income. It does not, and I want to make that clear. So that is through the hard work of 522, their executive board, our management team that worked very, very diligently and hard. That is the portion of the health care issue that you'll be voting on tonight. And now what I'd like to do is turn it over to Chief Wells, who's going to talk about some of the other issues that you're also voting on tonight with the contract change.
Good evening. Good evening, directors. Also, part of this agreement, the term of the agreement has changed and extended the contract through December 31st of 2015. Also, there's reopeners in July of 2014 and July of 2015. All salary schedules will have a wage reopener subject to a mutual written agreement. And also, importantly, the district and the union shall meet and confer over changes in the federal laws governing health care benefits subject to a written mutual agreement. Additionally, the uniform allowance will be rolled up into base salary. That's actually a cleanup language with the CalPERS issue that we're dealing with, so we're rolling that into base salary.
And that doesn't add to any PERS. It was already PERSable. So we're adding zero. That's a zero net sum. I want the public at home to know that this is simply trying to get rid of the incentive pays and stuff that are out there that people are critical of. We rolled it back in, and so that we're cleaning that up.
Okay, we've went over the health plans extensively, and the fire chief's going to talk about the retirement plan. Safety, non-safety.
Right. When we did the first contract change with 522, where we did the 12% of the employer's cost, there's a differential between safety, which is the uniformed people, and the civilian employees. And there's a different rate, but all employees in the district in that first concession package ended up paying 12% of their employer's cost of retirement. And so when we put this back and we did this contract agreement, when you look at what safety is 12%. However, the municipal employees are 8%. So, or the civilian employees. So it did not seem fair and equitable to tag them when they're not getting a safety retirement with paying the safety rate, and at the same time convince them that they needed to go ahead and do this pre-funding of their retiree medical. It's kind of a double jeopardy issue. It's not fair on the face of it. It's not the right thing to do. So what we did with them is we moved them back to their 8% for non-safety, which is their rate that they would be paying. Now, of course, all new employees are treated completely different that we're hiring under the new law and the retirement law. So there was cleanup language to do that. And in vacation, we are allowing them to sell 120 hours of vacation. Somebody would go, why would you do that? Well, by selling 120 hours of vacation, that's less vacation time they're taking off. And as you know, we run a business where we have to have a certain amount of people to provide the service level. So we end up by doing that with time and a half. So if people are paid for their vacation at straight time and don't take it off as much, it saves the district a set amount of money. And it must be sold back in 24-hour increments. And also, it and the, I believe the sick leave pays that we talk about, we are working on a constructive trust issue with the IRS rules. So we will be at the beginning of this next year setting it where you only get paid one time a year. You have to identify when that is. So there'll be cleanup language coming on that so that as we clean this stuff up, we make sure we're within the confines of federal and state law. And I think that concludes my high points. Do you have anything else, Mark?
Well, there was one other small group that's actually worthy of mentioning because it's a subsection of a health plan regarding the Medicare aged for the Medicare exempt employees. And the district has addressed that by making sure that that group as well, very small finite group that over attrition won't be, in fact, even in our actuary, they didn't even consider that number. It was so small. However, we wanted to make sure that we stated in that the resolution under the healthcare plans, that's one piece, that they would be credited back the 8% at the Medicare age as well, for the Medicare exempt employees, prior to March 31st, 1986.
And those employees did not pay Medicare, so there was a finite group of them who are not eligible for Medicare Part A or Part B, and they have nowhere to go. They have no way to fall into that. And so the intent was not, and they're mostly seniors and a small group, the intent was not to go in and take the 8% out of them now that they've been retired and they're of that age, and it's a diminishing market that we hope they all live a very, very long time, but the reality is that pool will shrink even further down to non-existent. So with that is the highlights of the resolution that's before you. I will tell you that there is no better labor union in the state of California, at least in the firefighters industry, that you can work with. And I don't want to offend unions out there, but I don't think there's any better union to work with amongst all unions than 522. They get the big picture. It's not easy when you go in and say, we're going to change the way we do business. There's a new norm. It's a tremendous lift for them to go back to their membership. And their membership voted by like 79 or 80% to approve this program. And I can't say enough that we have that cooperation and working together. They basically got in a room with management team. I wasn't there, and they sat there, and it went through all sorts of reiterations to get here. Their team on 522's part, they did all sorts of different variations of what healthcare could look like, and our finance department worked with them and with Bridget, and how do we put those into the formulas, and how does that work, and how does that come to results? This wasn't a normal negotiations where you just get in there and go, this is our offer, that's your offer. This was a group of people sitting together as a team and going, how do we rebuild the system so it's sustainable, it's affordable, and we can guarantee the people the promises that we've made to them in the future. So, at the end of the day, I want to say thank you to my staff that's worked tirelessly, absolutely tirelessly to the bone, but with as much credit, if not more, to 522. And that concludes my remarks.
Thanks. You mind if I make a quick comment here? One thing I want to make sure you understand is the vacation leave sellback option is non-PERSable, so that's not going to be a PERSable item.
Right.
And it'll be optional for our employees to sell back up to the 120 hours per year, which obviously reduces overtime, but it also gives our employees the ability to bring a little bit more money home for their families. And also part of this, I know you're all aware of it, but just so the people who watch this, we are continuing our concessions from our previous contract, which was close to $27 million, in addition to what the cost savings for the unfunded liability for the healthcare will be. And I just want to point that out prior to your vote because that's huge. It allows us to keep engines open and to continue to serve our communities with additional people other than grant-funded positions. So it's important to keep those companies open. Also, we ran 80,000 calls last year, which is more than the previous year, and without these current concessions that we have, that would have made it tremendously hard, and it would have hurt our customers, which is the taxpayers. So I want to point that out previous to you guys voting, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. I imagine something's wrong with you if you don't want to say something here, because this is a great day for this district. And certainly the partnership between our workforce, Local 522, and the management of this district, the board of the directors included, that collaboration has produced a wonderful opportunity for this district to get ahead of the retiree health care problem, to ensure that the workforce that is retiring from this district is guaranteed health care when they retire. And they're not guaranteed health care because we're a board that just believes that they should have it. It's because they're actually paying for it up front. They've got money in the effort. I certainly, looking at health care as a vested right is much better than crossing your fingers and hoping that somebody doesn't decide to take health care away from you, when you're retired. I think that it's an investment in yourselves from Local 522's point of view, from our senior management's point of view. This is an investment in yourselves to ensure that your health care is provided for when you're retired. And it's an investment in the district. The savings that has come to this district as a result of these collaborations between labor and management, those are an investment in this district and in turn the community that we serve. I'm certain that this is a day that other entities throughout the Sacramento region and possibly the state should take note of and understand how this working collaboration took place and the great deal of savings that saved a special district with a budget of $140+ million and what it could do for a larger entity or a smaller entity just the same. So we appreciate again the work that you've done, and it's not lost that there's many people in this room that had a great deal of participation and influence in making sure that this happened. Certainly we've got folks from the bargaining group back there. We've got management here in the room, Mr. Campos, Ms. McFarland. Certainly our appreciation extends to you as well. Makes me a proud member of this board of directors and to be related to this fire district today. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that, and that not only have you not taken raises, you've given up the raises, and it's been numerous years since any of our employees have had raises. They come to us with solutions and give back more to help pay for their benefits that they need and that we have promised them, and that yet they come to us and say, let us help you pay for those. And I can't say thanks enough for that, and I can't say thanks enough to Chief Hinkie, for bringing labor in rather than, you see this in the public agencies all the time. Labor is the problem, and our local paper likes to point out the fact that labor seems to be the problem with everything, and I think we've proven that when you work with labor, they can be the solution, not the problem. And it definitely holds true in this district that our labor has come forward with. I don't want to get into the details, but I'm sure some of these ideas for some of the things that they did came from the labor side on saving. I mean, like pushing their members to cheaper health plans. They don't have to do that, but they see that as a benefit that they can save us some more money, and they are doing that for the citizens that they serve. And I think that goes unsaid way too often, that the firefighters take that oath, and they take that oath seriously, that they're here to serve and protect the citizens, our management team, all the way down. And that's sworn and non-sworn. And just because the other non-sworn people are not out there riding on the engines, they are also giving up. They are also doing more with less in those offices. And doing more so that we can put more firefighters out on the street. And I can't say thanks enough to the whole organization for putting forward this plan. And I think you know where I'm going to vote on it. So thank you. That's all I had to say. Thanks again to 522 and our management.
Go ahead, Jack.
Mr. President, I just want to add, I'm not going to reiterate the things that have been said. I agree. This is a great day for us. And I think it's important that your members understand, Mr. Bailey, that this is a good thing for their long term. Someday, I hope they'll all get to be as old as I am. And they're going to realize how important having that health care vested is. So I think it's a good move. It's terrific for us. I think it's good for your people long term. Thank you. I do have a couple of little questions, if I may ask. On page 31, we talk about the growth in the fund, and Chief Henke talked about how it's going to be conservative. Can you just talk for a little bit? You know, I'm interested in the yellow part up there, the investment. What is the investment? Who manages it? And you know, how do we know it's going to be conservative and be there?
Mr. Campo will go ahead and give you a rundown on that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. That's an excellent question. I really like this graph.
I do too.
Those funds are they're the trust that the district established is with CalPERS, and so it's the folks that manage the CalPERS retirement fund are the same folks that manage the CalPERS OPEB trust funds. So those are being managed by CalPERS. And as the chief indicated, the assumptions that went into this particular model are using a 7.25% growth rate, which is a little more conservative than maybe what CalPERS uses for their retirement funds. But these funds, it's in an irrevocable trust. So once those monies go to the CalPERS trust fund, they can only be used to pay these medical benefits. And so the investment managers at CalPERS can invest these funds on a more long-term basis because they're there just to pay medical benefits over the next 30, 40, 50 years.
But it is the CalPERS board that is overseeing the investment strategy, and I want to make sure the public.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. One other quick question, if I might. Sure. On page 33, we talked about employees opting out. And I ask this because I'm familiar from a former life of this being a potential problem. Marital status changes. So is that subject to change in and out for our employees as necessary?
Yes,
Okay.
during any open enrollment or any life-changing event, right? Yeah.
Well, and also they have to prove that they have a health insurance in order to opt out.
Good, good.
And,
Okay.
and they're allowed to answer the last. They're allowed to opt back in because here's the deal. At the end of the day, they're saving so much money way beyond what the 8% would be, even though they're getting the 300. If they want to opt back in, all the savings that we achieve from the opt-out goes into funding the OPEB trust. So, you know, this is a complete 360-degree program.
Life circumstances change.
Right.
And what you're saying is you accommodate that. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Director Monk.
I wanted to comment on a couple little things. One, I appreciate personally the work that the district has done with the local. I believe that this is the work that's been done together, not only put this product out quicker, in a better form, with more detail, than if any one side had done it on their own. I appreciate the cooperation, and I believe that there's a lot of things that were covered in your negotiations that we wouldn't have thought of offhand. But so by getting together and comparing notes and say, this is what we want, or whatever, or how can we make this the best for the employees, is the benefit that we're all getting out of this. So again, the continued cooperation between the local and the district is really to everybody's benefit. And I appreciate you concerned about the retiree folks. I can relate to that. So, thank you.
Dr. Orzali.
One comment, Chief, I'd suggest that this too represents one of the items that might go into the history of key initiatives that we've been keeping. When we first encountered OPEB as an issue, quite some time ago. In the environment that existed at the time, it was simply insurmountable. And what's led to this is a shift in attitude and belief and confidence, and the work you've done is just phenomenal. So thank you very much.
Please.
I want to express my sincere thank you to each and every member of the fire district, because what has happened is that everyone here has made a commitment to a long-term goal of health care security. And if this should be an example not only at our local level, county level, state level, it should be an example at the national level. We're all in the same boat. We're all in the same boat for this issue of health care. And I am incredibly proud of the hard work that senior staff, 522, the directors, everyone has put into this to make this a success. This is a long-term commitment that everyone, up to the national level, we all need to make. And again, I am so proud of where this district is for these assurances for the health and welfare of all of our members. Job well done, Chief.
All right then. And certainly collaboration and efficiency don't always go well together, but certainly it did at this point, and it shows just the hard work by the people in this district. All right then. Are we required to deal with these?
I think you had a question, Mr. President.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wood, please.
Thank you. There's not much more I can say beyond what's already been articulately said, but I do have a question for either Mr. Campo or Chief Hankey. On page 32, the slide, the $93 million savings, what time frame is that $93 million realized?
That is the, Director Wood, that the unfunded liability is as of a point in time. And so this represented the liability as of the last actuarial that was performed, and that was on the pay-go basis, not the pre-fund basis. And so that was up $240 million. That was the liability as of June 30, 2011 for all the existing retirees, their future medical benefits, and all the existing employees projected out to when they retire and then how long they're going to live. And so it's as of a point in time. So by these changes that are before you this evening, we had the actuary look back at June 30, 2011 and say, what if all of these changes were in place? What would our unfunded liability look like? And that's the figure that's $93 million lower than what it would be without any of these changes. So it's as of a point in time, but it's projecting out to the lives of all the retirees and the existing employees as of that date.
Thank you.
Mr. Monk?
One additional thing. There's been a lot of discussion coming out of PERS on the future of the PERS healthcare programs, similar to the long-term care program that they have where they're going to increase it in the next 3 years, 85%. Was any thought given into your calculations here on planning for the future in that area? Any?
Why don't I take that question? We would all like to project what the Affordable Health Care Act is going to deliver. The best negotiations that can be done is on the best data that you can get at the time you're doing the negotiations. And you have to remember these actuarials are done using professional actuaries that come in and say this is their best estimates, guesstimates on what it's going to look like, and they put it into the formula. It's not us. But I can tell you that in regards to what is potentially coming down the pipe, and cap-to-cap trip that we took to D.C., Director Orzali, Pearson, and Jones were with myself, Larry Davis, Vice President Ty Bailey, and we were in a healthcare presentation by Kaiser and some of the other major players back there in D.C. And what is coming down the pipe is healthcare will go up, they estimate 2 to 3%, in regards to insuring the uninsured. So that's your cost level for that. And then we still have a couple years down the road here, what they call the Cadillac tax plan on healthcare. And right now that rate is at some astronomical amount of money of $30,000 a year. If you get a health plan that you get taxed 40% on top of that. But their concern, both the Chamber of Commerce and Labor together, is they're going to drop that down to these average plans, and all of a sudden you're going to be paying a 40% premium on top of that. I do not believe that will survive the light of day, because I think both business interests, labor interests, and everybody are going to go, well, that's ridiculous. Why would you do that? Then there's no incentive for anybody to have their own health care at all. So there are going to be changes that are coming. We cannot foresee everything. We tried to deal with what we knew, what the elements were that we knew, and take the best guesses in putting the system forward that we have today. But numbers are numbers, and there's no guarantee that it's going to pan out, and the market changes change, and we will just have to see how that affects us. But we are looking at those out years and trying to plan as best we can. You want to add anything to that, or is that?
Yes, Chief, just on the technical side, the actuary does use projected premium rate increases in their analysis. So they project those premium rate increases in as well as a growing retiree population.
Right.
Right.
Mr. Chair, shall we?
I imagine we have some resolutions to approve. Now, Madam Clerk, are we to approve these separately?
Yes, we should. Thank you.
Okay, then. At this time, the board has before them 5 different resolutions, and they are A, B, C, D, and E. Let's move through these.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move amendment to labor contract, Sacramento Area Firefighters Local 522, Memorandum of Understanding.
Second.
We've got a motion by Director Jones, a second by Director Pearson on Resolution A. Board Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Monk,
I'm going to abstain on this as a retiree.
Wood,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Barzali,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Directors Goulden, Clark, absent. Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, Resolution B, amendment to labor contract, Battalion Chiefs Bargaining Group, Memorandum of Understanding, Sacramento Area Firefighters. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by Director Jones and a second by Director Scheidegger on the resolution to amend labor contract, Resolution B. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Monk,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Barzali,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Directors Goulden, Clark, absent. Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, go ahead. No, go.
Good job.
Tara. Okay, I'll
Fine.
roll. Resolution C, amendment to labor contract, Administrative Support Personnel, ASP, Memorandum of Understanding, affiliate of Sacramento Area Firefighters Local 522. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Director Jones, second by Director Pearson on Resolution C, the amendment to the labor contract, Administrative Support Personnel, and Memorandum of Understanding, affiliate of Sacramento Area Firefighters Local 522.
Roll call. Directors Monk,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Barzali,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Directors Goulden, Clark, absent. Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, I move resolution providing an amendment to resolution number 07-07, affecting non-safety senior management, and unrepresented confidential employees.
Second.
There is a motion by Director Jones and a second by Director Wood. Board Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Directors Monk,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Barzali,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Directors Goulden, Clark, absent. Motion passes.
And Mr. Chair, I also move our final resolution providing an amendment to resolution number 08-07, affecting safety senior management, and unrepresented confidential employees.
Second.
There is a motion by Director Jones and a second by Director Wood on Resolution E. Board Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Directors Monk.
Aye.
Wood.
Aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Barzali.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Directors Gould and Clark absent. Motion passes.
Woo-hoo. Director Jones, thank you for your hard work on spitting out all those.
Narrating all the.
All right. Item number 3 is a resolution fixing the employer's contribution under the Public Employees Medical and Hospital Care Act. Deputy Chief Wells.
Good evening again. Yeah, this is actually a CalPERS requirement. It's a CalPERS resolution for procedural processes on their end. And so based on that, I'm going to actually read the staff report and the associated resolution just to make sure we have it on record and that we won't have any further issues. So tonight the topic is to authorize and adopt a resolution for the California Public Employees Retirement System to establish an employer's contribution of 92% of the employee's health premium. On the 14th of February, representatives for the district met and conferred with representatives of Sacramento Area Firefighters Local 522 over modifications to the current Memorandum of Understanding. One of the agreements was to make changes to the medical premium contributions for current and retired employees. Specifically, it was agreed to that effective July 1st, 2013, employees or retirees enrolled in the basic or combination plans, the district shall contribute 92% of the medical premium towards their selected health plan. Employees and retirees will be responsible for the remaining 8% of the premium. For retirees that are enrolled in the supplemental managed medical plan, the district shall contribute an amount equal to 100% of the medical premium contribution. In order to fully execute the medical premiums contributions with CalPERS, the attached resolution needs to be adopted by the board and forwarded to CalPERS Board of Administration. Additionally, effective January 1st, 2014, the health premium cap will be changed from the Blue Shield Access plus Bay Area, which is $2,040.04, to the third highest plan in CalPERS Bay Area rates, which is currently the Blue Shield net value at $1,742.55. At this time, rates and available health plans for 2014 have not been determined by CalPERS. Once this information is available, staff will bring another CalPERS resolution for board approval approximately September of this year and September every year thereafter, approving the change in the premium cap for that year. So tonight, I'm just looking for the board to accept and approve this resolution. And the resolution is fixing the employer's contribution under the Public Employees Medical and Hospital Care Act, whereas Government Code Section 22892A provides that a local agency contracting under the Public Employees Medical and Hospital Care Act shall fix the amount of the employer's contribution at an amount not less than the amount required under Section 22892B of the Act, and whereas Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District is a local agency contracting under the Act, now therefore it be resolved that the employer's contribution for each employee or annuitant shall be the amount necessary to pay the full cost of his or her enrollment, including the enrollment of family members, in a health benefits plan up to a maximum of, and there's actually 2 codes in our contract with CalPERS, but the main is code 000, which is all represented and unrepresented employees or annuitants. The contribution per month will be 92% of the Blue Shield Access Plus Bay Area regional rates, or 92% of the premium, whichever is less for basic and combination rates, and up to the total Blue Shield Access Plus premium for supplemental rates per month. And actually, per the CalPERS, our other code is 001, which are paramedic interns, which we no longer have. And it's a long, complicated process to get that out, and we're in the process of doing that with our consultant with CalPERS, but for purposes of this document, it needs to be included. Plus administrative fees and contingency funds assessment, and be it further resolved that the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District has fully complied with any and all applicable provisions of the Government Code Section 7507 in electing the benefits set forth above. adopted at a regular special meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District Board of Directors on this day, the 25th day of April 2013. So I wanted to read that into the record to make sure that it was clear and public.
All right. So item number 3 under action items, what's the pleasure of the board? All right, I believe that was a motion for the resolution fixing the employer's contribution under the Public Employees Medical and Hospital Care Act as read by Deputy Chief Wells.
I'll second it.
And a second by Director Scheidegger, excuse me.
Where's Sally?
Who was the first on that?
It was me, Mr. Director Pearson.
Pick one.
Or so.
Roll call.
Please, yes, will you please?
Directors Monk,
I'll be abstaining on that one as well.
Wood,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Barzali,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Directors Gould and Clark absent. Motion passes.
All right, then. At this time, we have no items left except for closed session.
Okay.
Am I seeing that correctly? Yes, I am.
Director Kelly, can I just make one comment before you guys go to closed
Please
session?
do.
I just want to point out and thank command staff. And it's been a lot of collaborative work. And also, we have 2 of our executive board members from Metro Fire, also Chris Andrews from Sac City, John Barsdale, Mike McGoldrick, and our financial Bridget, who you might have heard her phone ring a second ago. No, I was kidding. But yeah, I just want to point out Mike Sloan also did a tremendous amount of work for us. Captain Sloan is one of our shift reps, and he did a ton of work for us for the medical piece. So I want to point out and say thank you to everyone. Thanks.
All right. I think we should take a few minutes and hug it out, huh?
Yeah. Group hug. Hug him if you got him.
Oh, okay. Yes, you're right.
Exactly.
His eyesight could be poor or his memory,
No, it's just the misreference of all the ones. It could have been.
Well, I'm just saying,
You
when
could have
Mike,
been a Kelly or a Jones.
Yeah, I could have been a
or
Kelly.
Elizabeth
You know,
or
I could have been a
Zali.
Jones.
right, exactly.
God rest his soul, Louis.
Oh, thank you.
Louis,
I didn't, from you?
Yeah.
Never thought you guys were from the same cloth.
That's right. Yeah, Louis was an interesting guy.
All right, then, at this time, we will call our regular meeting back to order. And Mr. Labra?
Yes, thank you, President Kelly. The board met in closed session to discuss the application for industrial disability retirement on behalf of firefighter Kerry Freeman. No action was taken.
All right. At this time, do we have a motion?
Take a motion? I'll move the motion. Yeah, we can make the motion that we approve the industrial disability retirement.
Second.
A motion by Director Pearson and a second by Director Monk. Board Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Directors Monk,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Directors Gould and Clark absent. Motion passes.
All right, then, moving on to President's report. I have no report at this time, except for this was a real enjoyable evening to discuss and take care of business for this district. Fire Chief.
President Kelly, Board of Directors, I know it seems like I haven't been here for a while, but trust me, I was still working. I attended the Metro Chiefs Conference down in Phoenix, where they rolled out the high-rise study that they did in regards to staffing levels on high-rise fires, the NIST study, and was able to have a good dialogue with about, I think there were 70 or 80 metropolitan chiefs. They're the largest fire departments, not just in the United States, but Hong Kong, Great Britain, the Netherlands, had a variety of people there. So we got a lot of good information to bring back to the department on that. And then we attended Cap to Cap, the Metro Chamber, as I mentioned before, with Rusty Dupre, Larry Davis, Director Jones, Director Orzali, Director Pearson, and myself. We had a very, very successful Cap to Cap trip. We first met with the Deputy Administrator of FEMA in regard to the simulator project, and within a matter of about 60 minutes, the world seemed to open up. And the follow-up meetings that both Larry Davis and I appreciate Director Orzali in my place because I had to get on a plane, attended, were very fruitful and productive. And I think that they have, at least it sounds like to me, are going to be the solution to the whole designing of the simulation, maintaining those simulations and that, and actually doing it remote, and really help us limit the expense of servers and the software that we're going to need by using open source. And the Deputy Director for FEMA was pretty clear. He wants to get the project done. We talked about ongoing funding and grants that we would need to put in for the training, the continued training, and so on and so forth. So this is a one day in the last 3 weeks that I haven't talked to Larry Davis, so I'd like that noted for the record. And so I haven't had a follow-up with him in regards to what has happened since we've gotten back, but they're going to be sending people from Sandia Laboratories and Science and Technology out here to help us with that. And as you all well know, the construction is well underway, and I think that was a big hook for them when they saw the business plan, the deputy administrator, and then saw the actual construction pictures and stuff. It was like, wow, this project's going to be real, and they want to be connected to it. So I think that was a great success. Just prior to leaving that night, the previous night, I attended the Sacramento Metropolitan Firefighters Association retirement dinner, which was great. We had a bunch of retirees there, and Directors Orzali and I believe Delman Clark and Scheidegger. Am I right? No. Who else was there? I missed one. Did I miss one? Monk, I'm sorry, Director Monk. The three directors were there. I knew one had to leave early, but it was well attended and it was a great event. I also done the Sacramento County Fire Chiefs Association meeting. As you're well aware, you probably received in your packets tonight, we have received correspondence from some private ambulance companies in Sacramento County. I will be meeting with those three private ambulance companies tomorrow. And if you didn't get the correspondence, you will because it went to the clerk. It just came in the last couple of days, so it may not have made it in your packet. But they have notified us, these three companies, that they are going to begin running 911 calls immediately. And you'll be getting a letter that says that, you know, we haven't been following the rules. And so it begins. So we will meet with those three private ambulance companies tomorrow with all the county fire chiefs and have a nice discussion. Perhaps they're misinformed or unclear, but we will have a discussion with them, and hopefully it's a very minor issue that can be worked out. But I don't think that the public in Sacramento County is expecting a fire service delivered ambulance service that has worked flawlessly for 19 years because the private ambulance companies left Sacramento County. that now they want to come back in really for and usurp that system. And we don't get involved in their business of interfacility transport. 911 systems are really, really for that, emergencies. And as I was told today by our partner in AMR, they're running, and we're seeing it, they're running code 3 calls, including CPR calls. So you dial a 7-digit number and say, could you come, my husband's not breathing, or care facility. That ambulance might be 20 minutes or 30 minutes away. So it's a serious issue, and we will be responding appropriately to that in the future days to come. Also, we had a preliminary budget meeting and command staff retreat this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. As much as we would like to say that the budget looks wonderful for next year, even though we have a bump in revenue, the bottom line is we have a bump in expenses, some short-term expenses, which you voted on tonight, but also we have health care and other expenses that are going up, and some SCRS expenses that are going up. So we're working on that. We're going to delay the budget process and probably ask for a special meeting of the Finance Committee when Chairman Scheidegger gets back, and actually have a special finance meeting where we can sit and work with the finance team and then move forward to the full board. But we will have a good budget. It just always remains a challenge. Again, we talked about the command and staff strategic planning workshop. When we do the board of directors workshop with management and labor, we will be bringing what we've done. I think we came up with some new processes that really will help us out in not overloading our staff. We've got some good strategic recommendations for the board of directors to consider in moving forward. Tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, I will be at the Point West Rotary Breakfast recognition for firefighter Robert Driver at 7 a.m. at 2001 Point West Way. And then we've got the cooperators meeting between CAL FIRE and all of our agents and the Sacramento County agencies. And then, of course, I meet with those 3 private ambulance companies at 1 o'clock with the county chiefs. Other notes: on the 29th, the Metro Fire Academy 13-1 starts up with 40 to 41 recruits. Save the date, fire station open houses for those people watching on TV and for the directors. Station 29 is June 1st. Station 26 is June 8th. Station 29 will be again on June 15th. And Station 105 will be July 20th. And I will get the addresses, and all of that will be up on our website. And I will make sure that I get the addresses in future board meetings and continually beat it. Those fire station open houses have been a great hit, and it's a great effort or opportunity for the community to get out there and see what we really do and bring their kids and find out about what the services are that are provided to them by Sac Metro. Single role paramedic 13-2 Academy graduation will be Arden Hills Country Club at 6 p.m. on May 17th. And then on August 30th, Swing for Public Safety, inaugural golf tournament benefiting the Sacramento Metro Public Safety Foundation, and proceeds from this year's tournament will help support Metro Fire's fire camp and delivery of Lucas devices to our community. And I know that Director Arzali has been heavily involved with Brenda Briggs and Larry Davis and really leading this charge on this golf tournament. So, we'd like to see 100% participation out there. I will just note for the record, since it's August 30th, I will be the guy with the largest umbrella and no golf club in my hand. But it's going to be a great event, and we're really trying to get major sponsors in that. And Director Arzali has just done a tremendous job in putting this together, along with the other committee members, Linda Budge from the Rancho Cordova City Council, and Rusty. New hires, none to report. Reinstatements, none. Reassignments, none. Retirements, none. Promotions, none. Recruitment, none. I really don't have anything more tonight. I think it was a great night in regards to the approval of the health care reform that has been done here. And with that concludes my comments. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right. Any questions of Chief Henke?
President Kelly, members of the board, Christopher Holbrook, I'm the operations chief for Metro Fire. Since the last time we were together 14 days ago, there have been 2,493 EMS dispatches with a transport rate of 72% of the time. I'm very happy to report that included in that time, the surge contract that we have with our partner AMR is working flawlessly, and they consistently help us out at a moment's notice. In those last 14 days, there have been 22 working structure fires. That is almost 30% more than normal. And what I can tell you is that in those 22 structure fires, Metro Fire has saved over $1.3 million in structures and property. So hats off to the men and women out in the field. With that, that concludes my report for tonight. I'll answer any questions.
Any questions of Deputy Chief Holbrook? No? Thank you. 522 basically made their report this evening. And I don't see anybody left in the room for them. Okay. Moving on to committee and delegate reports. The Executive Committee, I have nothing to report out. There are no meetings planned at this time. Chief Cockrum, the Communication Center JPA? All right. The Fire Rescue Training JPA, we have a meeting scheduled for June 12th at the California Fire and Rescue Training's facilities over on Tech Center Drive. Again, if you haven't had a chance to stop by there and poke around a little bit, I would encourage you to do so. Finance Committee, Director Scheidegger.
Thank you, Mr. President. Due to some scheduling conflicts, we're going to be unable to keep our scheduled meeting of May 9th. We do have some important matters, as the Chief alluded to, and so what we've asked is that Ms. McFarland will go ahead and work with the board clerk and survey the Finance Committee members for a date, hopefully in late May, which will enable us to have a unroutine meeting. We will, of course, notice the public as to when that date is set.
All
Thank
right. Policy Committee, Director Pearson.
No report, and we have no meeting scheduled at this time.
All right. Next item would be board member questions and comments. Director Pearson?
I said quite a bit already about the contract, but I did want to mention I had the opportunity to travel with a couple of my esteemed colleagues and the staff down to Cap, and it was very informational and just gave me another more sense of a pride to belong to this organization. I want to thank again the chief for putting this forward, putting us out there, and building these relationships. Larry Davis for what he does there. It's not just going to the Capitol and messing around and visiting the sites. That we were actually working and we were getting things done. And I think the proof is in the pudding when you see all the stuff that Larry Davis brings back to the department. It's because of these relationships that he builds on these type of trips. So these are very important trips for us to go on, and I continue to want to support them. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about on the private ambulance company thing. We just heard a report from our operations chief. Things are working well with our partner agency that we have now. We have, I believe strongly, in fire-based EMS for 911. The chief pointed out we have no business doing inter-facility transfers. That's not what the public pays us to do. They pay us to take care of emergencies. Private ambulance companies do a very good job of the inter-facility. They have the resources and the staffing to move those people around. But to go back to the old system that everybody in the county rejected and agreed that was not good and was not working well, to have all these multiple agencies trying to do the same thing. And I don't know if anybody remembers the old movie Mother Jugs and Speed, but I worked for some private ambulance companies in the county at that time, and it was not far off of that. If those people that, I see some smiles out in the room, they can remember, those that worked in the private ambulance company at the time, wasn't far off of that. We've moved that bar forward, and I think with our partner with AMR, they are nothing close to the ambulance companies that are depicted in that movie. They're a very professional, well-run organization, and it just is upsetting to think that there are some people that would choose to undermine the great service that we are providing our citizens right now. So outside of that, I support your meeting with them, Chief, and if you need any of my help, I'll be more than happy to help you out. So that's it. Thank you.
All right, then, Director Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Two things. One is, thank you, Dave. Everything that you just expressed, I wholeheartedly agree with and second. So thank you very much for those comments. On a bit lighter note here, I would like to thank Deputy Chief Chris Holbrook and PIO firefighter Michelle Idem for participating in a community forum in my division, a community forum sponsored by the Butterfield Riviera East Community Association in partnership with the Cordova Library Branch. We had Metro Fire well represented by those aforementioned members, along with Supervisor Don Natoli and East Area Commander Reichel from the Sheriff's Department. It was a well-attended meeting. Room was full, and we went for a good 2 hours with issues coming from the community concerns. So, Chief, thank you very, very much for attending and representing Metro Fire.
All right. Director Monk.
Well, I'd like to thank Roger Mitchell and the representatives from the Park District and the other areas from Rio Linda for being at the meeting this evening and presenting those photographs for Station 111. Those are really nice photographs. I'm not sure where they're going to put them at 111, but they're big enough they could fit or provide shade. But I want to appreciate their continued support of the fire district and all the things and what we're trying to do out at Old Station 111. Other than that, Chief, I want to congratulate you on your continued good work and meeting and greeting on behalf of the district and the employees of the fire district, the major fire you had on Watt Avenue. I have heard nothing but excellent comments about the way the fire was handled. Traffic was a little heavy, but very well represented. 90, how many people? So, very good representation of the district, and we need to find something about the abandoned buildings and get more of that taken care of so we don't have major fires like that. So that's all I have.
Director Wood.
Kind of dovetails into what I was going to say, Chief. It doesn't seem like a week's gone by since I came on in February where I haven't noticed something in the news about the good work that the men and women of Sac Metro are doing. Just appreciate the members of your staff that are getting that out to the newspaper. Everything from this last week to the rescue by the river a couple weeks ago, the Zinfandel Grill roof, the quick response that saved that property. So just, it's great to see that every week in the paper. So thank you.
Director Scheidegger.
Thank you. I just want to dovetail on what the Chief said about those open houses. Went to 32 along with Director Pearson, and it's fantastic. I think it's a great thing for this department to do in terms of outreach to our community. Really encourage it. Please keep it going. And I want to close with a question to Director Orzali. In terms of that golf tournament, will you personally be playing? And if so, is there a handicap established?
Golf.
Just by virtue of my being there, there's a handicap.
Thank you very much. That's end of my comments.
Golf.
Director Orzali.
I too attended Cap to Cap, and for the 463rd time this year, I want to thank Larry Davis for the work that he does. It was an impressive opportunity to see how much interest the federal level government has in what Sac Metro is accomplishing with this simulation center, and for them to have the sense of urgency and understand how serious we are about it was very heartening to me personally. I also want to, on that same note, express my appreciation to Congresswoman Matsui for the time she spent with us. She and her staff were most hospitable and expressed their direct interest in the simulation center. And I look forward to working with her staff in the future on the same issues. We mentioned the Public Safety Foundation earlier, and I also want to thank all the men and women who have been involved in bringing this about. The Public Safety Foundation, Sac Metro Public Safety Foundation, is focused on fire camp and on bringing the Lucas device to the Sacramento regionally. and it has been a great experience for me to work with our folks. They do a tremendous job. In legal counsel, occasionally we run into a circumstance, as we did this evening, where we have a series of issues that are directly related, A, B, C, D, and E. In my previous experience, we've had a process whereby we could link those items and vote on them as a group. I'm wondering if at some future time you could give us some guidance on the process by which we might do that.
I'll certainly do that and provide that advice. I'll just say that generally, when the items are presented as separate resolutions, they have to be voted on separately.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I will provide advice and counsel to the extent that there's occasions whereby you can bundle the resolutions together or word them under one resolution.
That's
in
what
order
I'm
to
thinking
avoid
is-
a series of votes.
Exactly. So, with that, thank you very much.
All right, if I'm going to close the group out, I'd just like to extend again my sincere thanks and appreciation for the work that you do, Chief Henke, the senior staff that you've assembled. Labor side, hopefully they're out celebrating, because certainly I believe it's a reason to. But again, I thank all of you for the work that you do in this district, and I believe that this district has been heading in the right direction for quite some time now, and certainly we're seeing some evidence of that, especially in terms of retiree health care and the finances of this district. So I appreciate all the work that everybody in the room does. Thank you again. We will adjourn.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Randy, you didn't